How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Monsters. This is Season 1, Episode 16, and this one's entitled Their Divided Self. It originally came out February 25th, 1989, and was directed by Frank De Palma. The episode stars David L. Lander, Keith MacKechnie, Karen Haber, Ed Byrde, and Rich Hall, and actually was based on a short story entitled Collaborating, which was written by Michael Bishop, who would actually get to adapt his short story into this teleplay. So that's really cool. I know Tales from the Dark Side did a lot of adaptations, but Monsters doesn't do as many, so it's cool to see an adapted short story here. Now, this episode is a conjoined twin story, which is one of those concepts that's instantly kind of fascinating. You know, it's something that when you think about it, there really is a lot to chew on. And actually, a year after this episode came out, Tales from the Crypt would make the episode My Brother's Keeper, and that would also be a conjoined twin episode. So I guess there was something in the air back then and everybody was fascinated by this concept. But they really do a lot with it. It's a very funny episode, and the two have a good back and forth, you know, like a classic comedy duo. And the humor is funny, and it really does hold up the way these two constantly butt heads with each other. And I will say that in Tales from the Dark Side and then later Monsters, the humor doesn't always hold up. So whenever I see it's going to be a humorous episode, I do get a little worried. But here I will say it did work. But it's not just the humor and the jokes. This one actually is a pretty good character study. You're literally bound to someone all your life. What are the little jealousies and the little irritations that get to you with this other person that you literally can't leave? And it does ask several really good and interesting questions of these characters during their interviews. And it is a good character study, but also has a bit of a parallel, you know, not just for conjoined twins, but also in the viewer's everyday life. You might have, like, say, a family member that you're with all the time, or a business partner that you're with all the time. So it has applications outside of the story as well, which is cool. And also there's some pretty decent effects in here. I mean, it's obviously just two guys doing this, but there are a few moments where they do pull off some interesting stuff. For example, there's a shot where you see the 2 feet below a chair, and they have 2 feet and 2 heads, and the camera raises past the back of the chair, and during a lightning strike, you actually get the cut in the film where they swap out from 1 actor to 2 actors, which I think is pretty interesting. And yeah, it's not the most technically impressive thing ever, but there's lots of fun little creative ideas in order to get the effect across, an effect for a character that's on screen quite a bit. Now, it's not a perfect episode, I will say. If you guys are wanting more of a horror-focused Monsters episode, it's not super scary. And if you guys want something bigger and wackier, it is mainly talking. And the talking does lead to fun humor, but it's not like the episode of Monsters with a wacky puppet or anything like that. And I will also say there is a tonal shift at the end of this episode that is a little bit abrupt, and I wish they had put in some foreshadowing for that earlier in the episode so that it didn't seem quite as jarring. But other than that, a pretty good episode. I like the humor, I like the character study, and it's just a really interesting idea. So overall, I can definitely recommend this one. But without further ado, let's do a bit of analysis. I'm going to be talking about the plot, I'll break down a few things and do a little bit of looking at them. I won't spoil the ending, but I will dig a little deeper. So no major spoilers, but let's talk a bit about the plot. We open up with some close-ups, and they actually kind of hide the fact that they're conjoined twins at the beginning. Yeah, this show originally came out before the internet, when plot synopsises and the flow of information would have spoiled this for you. But yeah, if you didn't know that this was a conjoined twin episode, you would be in for quite the reveal, and I only imagine the people that went into this not knowing initially would have thought it was a pretty interesting setup. And I will also say they do that close up to the one shoulder, only getting one twin's head in frame, which American Horror Story would use with Sarah Paulson during the Freak Show season, so cool to see that in here as well. But anyway, eventually their maid's going to answer the door, and that's when a woman and a psychiatrist will come in. The woman is their girlfriend, and she's brought over a psychiatrist because the two are fighting and they need help. And as he interviews them, that's when we get that reveal that they're conjoined, but we also find out that they're a bit of celebrities, and we get to hear their backstory. Basically, their father was this rich doctor who adopted conjoined twins on purpose in order to study them. When he died, the twins kind of lived alone in the house, not really interacting with the outside world. They would eventually meet their girlfriend, and she says, "I'll go out with you if you make it on your own and don't just live off your father's money." And that's when they got into show business, and they would work together, they would get pretty famous. But then one of the brothers wanted to leave, and if they're not both on board, well, you can't do the show. So now we have the psychiatrist there kind of trying to bring them back into the spotlight. And as they talk, you do get a bunch of interesting questions and a bunch of power dynamics. The two brothers are very different. One is more proper and smarter, and the other brother is a little jealous of that, but he's also more worldly and funny, and the two will butt heads quite a bit, and I did like seeing their jealousies of each other. You know, the smarter brother, he gets said first whenever anyone says their names, and they ask the maid about this. Why do you always say his name first? Why not my name? And then you also get, when they write the show, it's basically the smarter brother doing all the writing as well, and the other one just kind of wants to make funny sounds and goof it up and not worry so much about these types of jokes. It's interesting stuff, but it gets really big when they do talk about the girlfriend, and the more worldly brother is a little worried that the girl only loves the other twin. And that is kind of a thing, even though she insists that she loves them both, that's always going to be the question in this guy's head. Does she really love me, or is she just putting up with me? And that is going to really be something that would be super hard to ignore. So it is some interesting ideas here. And I will note that throughout most of these, it is favoring the smarter, more proper brother. And I would kind of wonder, would you want to see it where it's more of a back and forth and to get to see what the smarter brother's jealous of? But I think that's actually not what they were trying to do. By having it be a little bit one-sided and having the other brother be more worldly, we instantly kind of pick his side, and he becomes our point of view character. So I think that's what we're going for with this episode. But eventually tensions get higher, we get some fun gags, and it does build to an interesting finale, but as I did say, the tone of the episode changes a little bit. But overall, a good character study, some fun jokes, and a good sense of levity and classic comedy duo antics. I would definitely say check this one out. It is worth watching. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Monsters playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about more episodes of this show, you can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.